What up, everyone? This is Mr. Lord, Dr. Professor, Dark Joker, here with another edition of Traditional Fans with Opinions, where I'll give my reviews for whoever I watched, read, or played today. And who are traditional fans with opinions? That is myself, and that is you, the viewers. With all that being said, on with the reviews. The beginning after the end, season 2, episode 1. So in this episode, so Arthur and Jasmine, they they're investigating this village that no one's been able to contact. Basically, it's near the Beast Glades, and Sylvie's patrolling, and then basically all the villagers are frozen in some crystal, basically an arachne spire monster like frozen, and it's like a giant spider. I'd probably be running like hell away from that thing if I saw a giant spider. Although it'd be worse if it was a snake. And then, and yeah, so Jasmine tells Arthur that Arachne are amongst like they're one of the strongest types of monsters around. And basically and all the twin horns had to work together years ago to barely be able to defeat one. And then the one thing that's going on in the Beast Glades is that so some people are you know basically manipulating some things between the humans, elves, and dwarves. So whatever's going on there, who knows? Now Jasmine gets freezed by an arachne. Now that's after Arthur's tries to save this girl who gets caught by an arachne. Jasmine stops him because basically she says there's nothing they can do. So when Jasmine gets frozen, it's basically just Arthur and Sylvie. So basically the arachne is like resistant to magic due to being covered with armor plates. So well, I mean, it's not immune, but it's highly resistant. Now, Arthur is able to crack its skull with some earth magic, and he then uses lightning and fire magic to shoot it into the body through that crack, which it hurts it, and he's able to behead it. Now he deduces that he's still not able to where he was at in his previous life, so he still needs to get stronger. Now, Jasmine scolds him for, you know, basically like risking his own life to save hers because of, the promise to, you know, Arthur's mother. You know, Arthur apologizes, blah, blah. So then eats the mana core of the Arachne, and so all the villagers are happy that Arthur rescued them. Now, another adventurer at the guild hall named Lucas doubts that Arthur defeated Arachne, but then Arthur shows the corpse. And everyone's like, yeah, he did it. So then they get back to the Arthur's parents' house, like or at least where they're living. Arthur's mother kind of scolds them for doing this. She's like, you made me promise nothing dangerous. But they are impressed that Arthur defeated Arachne by himself. Like, and so then Arthur starts wondering what Tessia is doing. Then you see like everything of Tessia doing some training, of her own. But yeah, I thought this was a decent episode, decent way to introduce this season. Hopefully, we'll see more of the guild, more of what's going on. But yeah, I thought it was a decent episode. Looking forward to the next one. Reborn is a vending machine. I now wander the dungeon. Season 3, episode 1. So in this episode, Boxo's group is wandering around this like desert stratum, and you have it's funny as you have Boxo, Kikoyu are having like a little rivalry over who can sell more stuff, and that gets pretty funny. And so they return to their the stratum they all live at, and so later that night, Lamis takes Boxo to her tent, and basically it's like a birthday celebration. Now they don't know when Boxo's birthday is, but they say, well, it's been a year since Lamis basically says, well, it's like basically 1 year anniversary we met, so we'll just go with that. And then they also Kikoyu's birthday was also recent, so basically they do like a joint birthday, and Lamis baked cake, one for each, for each birthday. Of course, Boxo can't eat. So then you have alcohol. Bunch of them get drunk. So like Lamis gets wasted. Like she gets wasted. Like yeah, I mean so then later Kikoyu leaves. Basically, she's trying to take that piece of field back to the main bodies, and she's gonna potentially try to leave the dungeon. So we'll see what happens. But then of course, then there's the issue of the of course they're all trying to find the menagerie, fools. So and then basically so then what is there in a little expedition? So you have Boxo, uh Lamis and Hulami. They end up at this like little beach area. Now Hulami is also drunk during the bar. Like she gets pretty wasted too. Not as much as Lami, so now and then Boxo recommends that fishing. So now his way of saying is lettuce fish. So obviously they'll interpret it. So they all do some fishing. Apparently, Lamis's idea of fishing, what she does in rivers, is basically slam her fist into the ground and for the fish to pop out. Which I guess with her, like the blessing of might, that actually makes some sense for her. Like I thought it was funny. And Boxo shows like the bait he was hoping, like, because I guess in the real world, a lot of women get roasted out by bait, like by bait that's used for fishing. So he assumed if the same would apply, but well, basically, since Lamis and Hulami see more scary stuff in the dungeon, they're basically like they weren't really faced. So that bit was funny. But yeah, I thought this was a good episode. You know, looking forward to the next one. And that's it. Did y'all like the stuff I reviewed? And if you have your own opinions about all that, you can put all that in the comments. Thank you for watching, and like, subscribe, and all that. And look forward to the next video.